Welcome back, everybody. We just got done listening to the Boulder 3060, Boulder 2110, with, of course, the rest of the system that you guys already know. Focal Maestro Evos and the transparent Opus cabling. He had an opportunity to hear both Constellation and Boulder. So I'm giving you guys, for the first time ever, one man's point of view that's not mine. Someone who heard the system and can try, hopefully he can articulate the differences between both amplifiers and preamplifiers. Just to be clear, all I did was remove the Constellation preamplifier and plugged in the Boulder preamp with the Boulder amplifier. Everything else remained untouched. Okay? So that way you guys are not confused. That's all we did. So this should be a fun experiment. We're going to get his feedback right now as far as what he felt both amplifiers and preamplifiers, their combinations did with the system.
Well, just like you, it is my opinion and my opinion.
Of course, absolutely.
It's quite. My hair should be all just like this, because the Constellation was good.
Okay.
And suddenly with the Boulder, we have different speakers.
Different speakers.
Oh yeah, they're not the same speaker. It's not the same sound almost. It's incredible. Wow. It was not one lift but two veil lifted faster. The level of micro detail is unbelievable. And thank you for playing some of my music I'm used to. So it was, but it's just unbelievable, the level. You know, as you said, you go from a fast Porsche or fast car to a beast, to a car that, you know, if there is a little bump on the road, you're gonna feel it, and it will show you exactly. I mean, what a drastic change, and it's let me call my wife. We're gonna sell the house. This is quite something, and very interesting. But and at all levels, you know, it's the only thing that didn't change too much is you already have such a wide stage and deep that
remain with both.
Okay. But the micro details on the classical, you know, on that Grieg piece of music where it's faster, it's punchier, it's still you have details. You have quite an experience. Thank you.
And mind you, he played his music. Some of it was classical. To be sincere, I was very impressed by the two songs that you played. I am going to say that I might start using those to evaluate some of my system to understand where the disconnect occurs with regards to those amplifiers that are essentially incapable of pushing out that level of complexity without basically tripping and falling, if that makes sense, right? That's what I think I'm going to start working on, and finding these songs that are just going to do exactly that. Again, I have to say this, and I hate to throw numbers out there, but I have to do it. The Constellation setup, amp and preamp, MSRP for $57,000 USD. The Boulder is approximately $210, more or less. Yeah, about $210,000. Huge, $212,000. So it's a huge discrepancy. Now, what do you think, in your opinion? The Boulder, you already expressed that it's more nuanced. It's got more ultra resolution. It's got things happening that you never knew escaped you until you heard it, right?
Oh yeah, I heard something I've never heard.
You heard things that you easily, right?
Little details, yeah.
That you're like, wow, was that ever there?
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, what do you think the Constellation did right for you? What would you say the Constellation did that you were like, damn, you know, it's really, really something else? Like, what do you think? What traits did you like about the Constellation?
You know, I asked you if it was a Class A because I didn't know it.
Okay, yes,
it sounded like a Class A.
He thought it sounded like a Class A. I agree.
It was comfortable. soft, and
Yep.
you'll listen to it for hours.
Constellation.
Yeah,
And there's
absolutely.
always this stigma about Constellation Audio having it's really just constructed very poorly. It's constructed, look at the interior pictures of the Constellation Audio equipment. And I was just having this behind the scenes conversation with him. And the reality is, look, yes, there is an element of truth to that. Okay, we know that. But I'm going to tell you a few things you may not know about Constellation Audio. I had a pair of monos here that you guys saw, and never had a problem with them. The previous owner, I should say, never had an issue with them. I've seen Constellation components go for 10 years without a problem, 5, 10 years without a hiccup. So they are very reliable components, okay? That's never been a knock on their part. Sonically speaking, guys, I've been very vocal about it. You know I love Luxman. I have always said it. I am going to try hard to bring the new Luxman and 10X. I promise you guys I will. Constellation to me is just a better, more polished Luxman. It really is a couple of clicks above the Luxman sound. I feel like Luxman is a poor man's Constellation. And that's a huge accolade, actually, for Luxman. Because I will be very vocal about this. I love the way Constellation Audio sounds. But I did give you this feedback. When you get to this level of equipment, guys, it is so important that you guys match preamplifiers with amplifiers. Now, as you know by now, I tend to mix and match everything. And I love that. But if I can give you one piece of advice only. When you get to this level of equipment, the Constellations of the world, the Griffins, the Boulders, I might dare to say even Dart Zeal, which I've never owned, it is so important that you start out with the amplifier and preamplifier from the same brand. Begin there, okay? Explore that, listen to it, and then eventually, if you feel that you want to venture and try a different preamplifier, okay, then you may want to try an amplifier from a different brand. Audio Research is a great brand that we know about because it works really quite well. They're preamplifiers. And so you can do that. But 9 times out of 10, you will have a very hard time locating a preamplifier, okay, that sounds better than the matching preamp that your amplifier has at this level. Now, if you're playing at the $10,000 price point, if you're playing around the Parasounds of the world, if you're playing with, that group of amplification, absolutely, by all means, try to find a two-blind stage. Try to find another solid state preamplifier from a different brand. It is not going to hurt you, because I think that at that point there is a lot more room for improvement, because you're talking about a product that's 10 to 15K. But when you're talking about product that's $25,000, $45,000, $60,000, guys, I'm telling you, these brands make it nearly impossible for you to be the cook in the kitchen. I'm sorry. They make it nearly impossible for you, okay? I tried the Boulder 3060 in the past with my Select 2 DAC, which has the preamplifier module, okay? And it has been reported that it is a phenomenal preamplifier. I am not going to say it is not, but what I'm going to say is with my 3060, I didn't like it. But maybe I love it with my Constellation Tours amplifier. I don't know. So what I'm saying is some amps like their preamps, especially at this price point, especially in the big leagues, okay? You can't go out there and try your own combinations unless you got deep pockets and you want to burn some money. Have fun. Have at it. But if you want to land at something that sounds special, please do yourself a favor. Get the matching preamplifier and amplifier. Don't do what I do. This is why I created the channel, so that you just got a chance to hear 2 setups. that many dealers don't even have.
No, yes, I think
You know,
that's once in a lifetime opportunity. And to your point, and it's very apropos this weekend. This is F1 weekend.
Yeah.
The teams are not going to switch, part of cars. One car cannot be used with another car, and it's just, parts of the car. This is a Ferrari, this is an Alpine, this is a Red Bull, and you couldn't do that.
yeah,
It's made to work as a group, and it shows.
It shows. I mean, you heard the combinations just have this perfect rightness about it. I can't explain it. It just sounded right. It didn't seem like it missed anything. It was more of, what do you prefer? Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest here, okay? I have heard the Constellation setup in here for about 2.5 days because, I had my woofer that was out that I just recently replaced. And I heard it last night until about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was astonished. I was blown away by how this Constellation amp and preamp, not just the amp and the preamp sounded phenomenal. Phenomenal. If someone came to me and said, Jay, I'll take your Boulder gear, and I had to stay with the Constellation setup, fine, take it, right? Because the Constellation setup sounds that great. However, once you turn off the Constellation and you engage the Boulder gear, you're going to realize, oh, wow, okay, next level.
Yeah, don't do it.
So, you see what I'm saying? That's the problem. So, if you ever are in my neck of the woods and you are interested in perhaps something that I'm selling, or you want to have a conversation, I can certainly put you in front of systems that a lot of dealers don't have, maybe because they don't carry both lines. Constellation and Boulder are typically not under the same roof. But I can tell you that I will put you in two separate systems with the same speakers and do the switch before your eyes, and you'll be able to hear the difference in the levels. 50 grand, 200 grand. You'll hear the gap quite easily. Okay? Because I know a lot of you guys are always very, very angry when I throw numbers at you, but you were just here, you just heard it, you see there are levels to this. You heard it's a new speaker, you said it.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, there is the law of diminishing returns,
Right.
but this is not 5 or 10%. It's next level.
And next level in how many in what aspects, if you're asking me? Resolution. The bass is going to dig deeper because you have a bigger transformer now, more power. The speaker is actually going to even disappear more because now there's more overhead for that speaker to just push the sound out, and it just literally takes itself out of the room. Now, that did happen with the Constellation. He was even giggling here when he heard the Constellation because he couldn't believe how big and wide the presentation was. And to be fair, a lot of it has to do with the speaker. Speaker is known, Maestro Evo is known to do this, okay? If you're looking for that speaker that will completely make you feel like there is no speaker in the room, I think the Maestro nails it. But you guys know I got a new speaker coming. A speaker that is exactly the same dimensions as the Maestro, and it is worth maybe within $5,000 of the MSRP of this Maestro Evo. But overall, the physicality of the speaker, they're nearly identical, but from a different mainstream brand. And you guys are going to get to hear two different speakers in here with perhaps two different amplifiers and preamplifiers. And you can only get that here at Jay's Audio Lab. Nobody else is doing. I'm tired of saying it, but I'm going to say it. Nobody else is doing what I'm doing. Nobody else. You guys know it. It's not bragging. These are facts. You've seen YouTube.
And hit the subscribe button.
Please
Come
hit
on.
that subscribe
Let's go,
button.
guys.
Click it. Stop looking around. You won't find anybody that does what I do. If you're watching me, by the way, YouTube has told me 45,000 people are watching me, and only close to 11,000 of you are subscribed. Subscribe. You won't find another YouTube channel that shows you this level of gear. You're not going to. So you might as well subscribe, because I know there's about 30,000 of you right now watching me that have not subscribed. Subscribe. Help the channel grow, because the more subscribers I have, the better it is for me, and the more motivation I have to get out there and bring this level of content and gear before you. Where else are you going to hear this? From the comfort of your own home, you're going to get to hear this, and I think you get a pretty good presentation, pretty good idea of what's happening. Okay, you do. Is it the same as being in the room? No, because you've heard my videos, and now you have an idea of what's happening, right?
Yeah.
It's a different feeling, but you get a very good idea of the overall presentation. Okay, and I work very hard day in, day out, at nighttime, Saturdays and Sundays, to bring you guys the best content possible. And believe me, the channel is only going to grow. But you want me to tell you what will make it better? If you guys subscribe, because as I see that subscription count get higher, then you're putting pressure on me to bring up my game, to step it up more and more and more. So that's all I'm asking. If you subscribe, the more of you subscribe, the more pressure I have on my shoulders to make this better. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. That's all I got for today. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated, guys. Until the next one, peace.